Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome to the Leadership and Culture First podcast, where we discuss the complexities of leadership and culture, but also offer solutions to aspiring, new and experienced leaders. We invite guests to share their knowledge and experience and ask those challenging questions. As coaches, we aim to provide real insights, enable reflection and challenge thinking. Join us on our mission to unleash your leadership potential. Welcome back, everyone. And thanks for joining us for this episode. Today, Nikki and I have the absolute pleasure of welcoming Edyta Ozbek, who is a transformational, I'd say, executive leader and social impact strategist whose work spans continents and sectors. Edyta has built and scaled major initiatives across Europe, Africa, Asia, and the Pacific, and is known for pioneering ethical international recruitment models and has strengthened healthcare systems worldwide. She founded NEU Professionals Limited and now leads Nuzet Wells Mauritius, their first National Health and Social Care Excellence Summit and Awards. It's a non-profit movement championing recognition, collaboration and continuous improvement across the nation's care sector. Celebrated for inclusive leadership and systems-level vision, Edyta is a force for innovation and social transformation, empowering people and institutions to build stronger, more sustainable futures. Absolutely delighted, Edyta. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
So
I
yeah,
could
so
see
I
a
think
little
just
bit of
it'd
an
be really
uncomfortable smile there, Edyta. A little bit of an
It's a
uncomfortable
pleasure.
smile.
It's really, it is a pleasure. It's a pleasure, honest. What we like to do here on our podcast is just, invite you first of all to tell us about your leadership journey, where you started, and how you got to where you are now.
Thank you. I think the leadership journey always starts by being a follower, and you work with people that you really respect and you learn from, and then you work with some other people that you think, I'm not sure if this kind of works for me. And so a lot of my formative years were actually spent in finance and in banking, where I have moved across several different teams and several different portfolios, and learned with every leader, because in banking, you have leaders of different levels, and the same in any organization. And so when it actually came to my founding New Professionals, which was my first entrepreneurial journey and a company where I started being directly responsible for people, for setting the direction, setting the values, and really building a culture, the one thing that was always fundamental to me was that this environment feels like a family. It feels like we are all one family, and we all always call each other new family. And so when you really believe in values, and healthcare has taught me so much about compassion and giving to people and always being there for others and always putting others first. And really, this is why I focused so much on healthcare in my last 15 years of career, because it just felt like we had the same values, we were on the same page. And so the principle for me was always to look after the candidates with the same level of care and compassion that is expected of them in the clinical setting, because the 6 C's of nursing are the foundation of everything for us in the UK. And I wanted to apply the same philosophy to my people. And I always appreciated Richard Brand's perspective, where he says, train your people well enough so that they can leave, but treat them well enough so that they want to stay.
Wow.
And I think Richard Branson is an inspirational figure, and I kind of draw on from his experiences and his thoughts quite a bit in my life. And I think some things are good and some are bad. And one of the other things that I find in common with Sir Richard Branson is, don't say no to business. If someone offers you an amazing opportunity, just take it and work it out later. And that has sometimes really challenged my team and probably questioned the way I led the teams, because it introduced chaos in many ways, on many levels, but also gave us that exhilaration that came with actually how can we navigate this issue in a way that hasn't been looked at before? And that really drove that level of innovation that we had in the company, that we are also known for. So in my company, we, at some point at the peak of new professionals, we had 80 staff across 9 different countries. And over the last 13 years, there are still some people that I have never met in person. Like, for instance, we had a lady from Venezuela. We had several people from Kenya, South Africa, Zimbabwe that I would see every week, often more than once a week, and would be part of this new family. But we never met in person, yet we managed to build a relationship that really thrived and contributed to the growth of the new family and the organization as well. So I do believe that a lot of it is down to the fact that I can infect people with my enthusiasm. And really, when I believe in something, I feel that I am able to articulate it so clearly and so well that people immediately feel connected to the cause. And this is really how New Zetwals was built. You know, we have an enormous pool of incredible senior clinicians, academics, and you both ladies are beautiful examples of that. And everyone within that pool of judges and steering committee members is far more accomplished than I am, or than that I ever will be. And with that comes an enormous pressure, you know, leading a group of people who are so much more competent than you, and being able to lead with integrity, humility, to earn their respect, because they command respect just by who they are and the reputation they have in the industry and what they've already achieved. Whereas I am still 12 years into this journey with healthcare, still a fairly young and unknown entity and a new player, and unknown to many people. So leadership is very exhilarating, but is, to me, also bears a lot of responsibility.
How do you balance that then, Edyta? I don't use the word burden as a negative thing, but that responsibility, how do you stop it from becoming a burden and feeling like a burden?
I don't think you can stop it. And I think entrepreneurship is considered something that is very glamorous, but no one ever talks about the weight of responsibility that you carry. And I feel like it's the same with nursing, for instance. You know, you don't see the sacrifices, you don't see that drain, your personal drain, and the mental health drain that you feel when international healthcare recruitment is very volatile and often is dependent on the direction the government sets. And so every time there is a change in power and it goes from one party to another, that significantly impacts our industry. And with that, I was having to have conversations with people who I love and adore and respect, and champion as professionals, colleagues, and friends. And unfortunately let them go, knowing very well that they have children they are responsible for, or that this job was the only income in the family. And that was probably the worst time in my professional career, when we had to reduce vacancies and say goodbye to people only because of the change of circumstances, because of the political reasons and how those impacted our business, and absolutely nothing to do with their performance, because they are excellent, competent, and amazing people that I will always admire. So there are days when, you know, you need your peer support group. And sometimes you feel like, is there a light at the end of a tunnel, or are we just in outer space and there is no light anywhere and it's not coming in any million of light years? And sometimes you feel like it's not worth it. And then you have a conversation with your friend, you have a cup of tea, you let it out of your chest, you wake up And it's like, no, I did it for a reason. There is still something in my heart that makes me feel like we can still do it. We did it for a very good reason to start with. And now I've just remembered the reason and we can do it again. So I would never want to underestimate the power of peer support. And you need to have someone as your sounding board because it's very lonely at the top. And being a leader, you also need to be careful around that balance between being authentic with your team and being honest and not oversharing, which will then undermine your credibility and your authority in the business as well. So to be able to have either a mentor or just colleagues in similar positions who hold similar authority and responsibility as well is incredibly helpful to me.
That's really great to hear. I think Nikki and I have had experiences before, haven't we, Nikki, in conversations where there's that whole thing about if you think generally about leadership roles, you get promoted into a leadership role because of your skills that you've got.
Mm.
And then often leaders, they start to flounder because they don't have those support networks, the people they can go to. One minute they've got their peers with their colleagues and they get promoted and now they're the leader. Who do they then go to for that support? So yeah, really great point there. Yeah. Nikki, you were going to come in there.
I was just going to ask a question actually that one of the listeners had sent over to us, which I think fits in really well here. And this is about, it links in with what you've been saying there, Edyta, but it also links in about how to develop culture. And it says, this person asks, what's the most powerful thing that you as a leader can do to shape the culture where people actually do feel that value and they feel that you trust them, but most of all, they feel they can be authentic. They're not afraid.
I think it's encouraging people to offer you constructive feedback and giving them the space to disagree with you. And just throughout my various different experiences, not necessarily leading, but even in kind of day-to-day interactions with different people that I come across in life, if you can have a conversation with someone and disagree on something and still walk away being friends in inverted commas, and knowing that it's not going to deteriorate your relationship, but you were able to bring an issue up and you were being heard, and you had the opportunity to kind of speak your piece, that gives people the ability to always be able to share what they feel and not hold it inside, which then accumulates and causes disengagement, in my opinion. And so for me personally, it's that ability to be able to take criticism or feedback or being able to disagree, but still be very professional and respectful about it and still be able to maintain a good relationship.
Comes back to that
does
sentence
sound
I've
really
always
healthy.
said. Debate. Everybody loves a good debate, particularly at a leadership time. They love a good. I love a good debate, but I think that's a healthy way of looking at it. You're absolutely right.
And what does it take you as an individual though because clearly there's something about your values that you're happy to allow for that space and allow that to happen. If somebody was in a position that I don't know how to do that, what advice could you give them on how to be that kind of leader that creates that? I guess it's that psychological safety, and our listeners will know that that's my favorite thing, that builds that psychological safety to enable them to actually do that in a positive way. What does it take for you?
I think you need to have enough self-confidence to be able to take it on and for it not to kind of shake the foundations of your beliefs and your values. And for me, the thing that really helped me was understanding my personality and actually developing myself as a leader. So doing various different leadership courses that gave me that foundation to understand that what I've done to date and what I have been doing to date was the right thing. They just gave me the ability to articulate better and explain better why we were doing things this way, and so kind of reinforced me in the confidence that I have led well in the past, without any prior formal training before I completed my Oxford leadership course, but also understanding the personality. And so the two favorite personality tools that I really enjoyed were Myers Briggs and CliftonStrengths. And CliftonStrengths gave me that reassurance when I remember completing that test, thinking, oh my goodness, it's going to be so absolutely horrible if everything is just like soft skills, wishy-washy, lovey-dovey. She's amazing with people. She loves everybody, but she doesn't have any strategic skills or organizational skills, or anything like that. So when I actually got the results and I found that there was a beautiful, for me personally, a balance of strategic arranger, but also winning others over, which I feel I'm quite natural at. That again reinforced me in my feeling that I can lead confidently with competency, but I can also grow by receiving feedback from others. And so one very interesting piece of feedback that I took away from Myers Briggs is that because I am naturally so bubbly and outgoing and friendly, in some situations, my friendliness might be confused with flirtation. And so that kind of made me a little bit more aware of how I interact with people, because to me, I've always ever just been very friendly. And thankfully, there were never any situations that would kind of, I would get into trouble for being friendly. But it gave me also that sense of self-awareness that perhaps that friendliness might be taken for weakness in business settings. So scale back a little bit, but at the same time, remain true to yourself.
Yeah.
And remain authentic. And again, there is no golden solution, because sometimes feedback really hurts, and you walk away, you smile, and it's just like, oof, that really hit the nail on the head, and you can't really argue with it. It's all you can say is, no, you're right. That one's on me. That one's totally on me, and there is nothing I can do now other than just say, sorry, I will try to do better next time. But you need to be able to pick yourself up from it. And that's resilience to me.
So I guess it's with that real kind of emotional intelligence about really understanding not just yourself, but what your strengths are, maybe your development, what your triggers are. If you know you respond to feedback in a certain way, I guess it's understanding then why you respond in that way. And then that helps you to create safety for other people. Would you agree with that?
For sure, 100%. And for me also, one of the reasons why I wanted to set up a nonprofit organization is that I felt like, having spent 12 years in the same industry, I stopped growing, because we would do amazing, great, ethical, innovative things. But at some point it started feeling as though it was more of the same, just slightly tweaked, slightly different in a different country. Whereas I have never run a nonprofit before, and not in Mauritius, which is very, very different culturally from the UK or other African countries, or India, the Philippines, etc., where I have so much experience with. And now working with some of the local stakeholders here in Mauritius, and learning that what I've tried to apply to Mauritius from my previous experience doesn't work probably 80% of the times, because it's so very different. Sometimes leaves me leaving the meetings feeling, am I even competent enough to run this nonprofit organization? And then I kind of come back to it, and I see about see the rest of it and the ecosystems that we are building. And I remember that actually it's not me. It's 60 global leaders who believe in this project, whether it has my name on it or somebody else's name on it, because it really doesn't matter. It's about what we do and where we start and then where we go from there. And so I feel that I have had the opportunity to grow, even though sometimes I feel so very much out of my depth. But it's a huge growing opportunity for me, and it's a collaborative effort. So I'm just really grateful that I'm not alone in this, and the people that support the project will pull me back and by the ear and kind of like, hey, you're moving too fast, or kind of you're slightly outside of the values we started here and now we're here, there, and everywhere. Because when you have a new idea, when you have a new baby, you just want it to be the best and amazing and as big and develop it as quickly as you can. And then you realize that actually the rest of the world doesn't move as quickly as you do. So you need to take a rain check on that.
Yeah.
We've heard that from other leaders.
Oh,
about
really?
about how passionate they can be and how that can drive them forward, but that can be terrifying for other people around them.
Yes.
And sometimes the dark spots is actually learning when to kind of take that step back as a resilient leader for your own safety, but also for the safety of the team. When to slow down, when to stop, and when to do that and not see that as a criticism. That's what we've heard from Sharon. It's interesting how much our leaders are so enthusiastic and they see things not in black and white, but in splashes of color that are going off all over the place. How do you stay focused on the light in the middle when it's so beautiful out there and you can change so much?
And you see, my husband is a little bit on the autistic spectrum, and he always used to say to me, "Oh, I hate working with you. You're so disorganized." And I thought, well, we have very different styles, because I'm the Richard Branson style. Like I'll just take it and work it out later. Whereas he needs to have all of his back systems in place, all of the production, all of the product and the branding and everything. And only then 6 months later, he's going to start selling his product. So very different personalities. And I just kind of always used to put it down to that. But now working with different people on the nonprofit, I realized that maybe my brain is a little bit ADHD, because at times people will hear my ideas and be like, wait, we need to put them in boxes. For my benefit, I need them in boxes. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Where do we go from here? And I've realized that actually the team that I've built around me were probably just of my kind, because they were able to understand my chaos and translate it to more junior staff in a more kind of organized way, potentially. So I now, with the nonprofit, I feel like I need to take a step back and look at how I am communicating with people, so that I can give a clear direction, because otherwise I will be the one that introduces chaos.
And I think that's such a great reflection. And I think the fact that you're reflecting on it says a lot about you and who you are, and you recognise that, which is great. I think I am going to side with your husband a little bit, because I love other people's enthusiasm. I love it, and for me, it's going right. These little boxes, step by step, they really explain to me without ruining the enthusiasm. Do you know what I mean? Because it must be really frustrating. This is me and Nikki in our relationship, to be fair.
This is why I'm laughing. Okay. I'm laughing at this. We have the same as your marriage here. This
explain it. Just explain it to me, and like I don't know anything about anything. But you don't want to curb that enthusiasm. Do you know what I mean? You want to keep it firing, because it is. I love those kind of ideas. Put me in a room for a day where you can just say, right, what crazy ideas have you got? and I love all that creative stuff. But when it comes from someone else, you don't understand their thinking behind it. It's like, oh, hang on a minute. I don't know what you mean.
Yes.
So yeah.
I feel like this is a lesson in leadership here for me, Sharon.
It's a counselling session. It's just turning into a bit of a counselling here.
Yeah, it could
no,
be.
But it's a really good
be.
point. And I think that's why it's great, isn't it, to have all those different people around you. It's like you said, Edyta, you've got different people around you, and it's recognising how, because if you had lots of chaos altogether, it'd just be what would happen.
Yes.
It would just be, so it's like you said, it's recognising that you need the different people and different roles within a team and appreciating each other's viewpoint, isn't it?
Mm. I recall a conversation I had about 3 or 4 months ago with a lady from an organization in the UK. And we were talking about New Z was introducing the nonprofit and kind of looking at the opportunity of that organization potentially offering a scholarship for one of our winners. And we only had 30 minutes with that lady. And so I had to get such a volume of information over and across within 30 minutes. And I can do that. I can speak very quickly with a lot of passion. But I saw that by the end of the 25th minute, she was just completely out of it. She probably didn't know what happened in the last 25 minutes. And so
I'm pulling a face on her behalf.
I politely said, I really appreciate your time. I am going to put all of this in writing. Don't worry.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit more about New Z Wales. What was it that you aimed for? What is it going to do? What's this enthusiasm for?
It really goes back to my deep love and appreciation for nurses and healthcare professionals in general, but nurses in particular, because I've dealt and met so many amazing nurses from all over the world, traveling with our NHS clients and recruiting these incredible people. And so, sitting in interviews and hearing their stories, and everyone will answer the clinical questions beautifully. And then the one question that I always love to ask is, tell me about the patient that touched your heart and why, what was so special about them. And then you see all of that emotion and their values and their sacrifices, and how they also get hurt when they feel helpless. And yet they come back the next day and they do the same thing for another patient and another patient and another patient. And it's that weight of responsibility that they carry that I feel the community is not often aware of. And in the UK, we celebrate our NHS workers. I feel that for me, the NHS is a symbol of national pride, and whether you are a cleaner or a CEO, you do deserve special treatment because you hold this country together. You take care of all of us. Health is foundation of life for me, and is the only thing that we all need is universal, because it's not just our grandparents and parents that need care. It's our kids and husbands and wives and sisters and brothers. So it's always there. And then, having worked on several projects in Mauritius, I noticed that not only the engagement and the morale is fairly low among the healthcare workers, the career opportunities are limited, the pay is very, very inadequate, even in Mauritian terms. And then there is no public appreciation. There is nothing really to keep them going. And they do still keep going. And so I felt that something needed to change, and we were going to be that first organization to introduce that culture of recognition and really run those awareness campaigns to tell the people about what it is like to be a nurse, what it is like to be a pharmacist and a nutritionist and an occupational therapist, and everything that they do that we as a community should appreciate, but also everything that they do that we don't see. And the aim there is to inspire national pride and to support the health and social care organizations in supporting their staff through recognition, because there are some incredible pockets of excellence and projects
Yes.
that we have
Yeah.
seen that really make a huge difference to patient care, yet are not being spoken about because there is the culture of care, the culture of kind of blowing your own trumpet doesn't really exist in Mauritius. And so we want to shine a light on that amazing innovation and on those inspirational stories to let the community know that, look, these are the people that care for you every day, and yet they go out of their way to make care better through those different projects that that we see. So yes, it's about time that we gave the amazing social and healthcare workers in Mauritius a huge round of applause and say, you know what, we as a nation, we have your back and we appreciate you. And thank you for caring for us. We see you, we see the work that you do, and we will take care of you.
Yeah, that's
I
really...
wish so many more people
Yeah.
would say that. That is so lovely to hear, and such a great cause. And really good to come from somebody that sees it from who isn't a healthcare worker. Actually, it means so much
Yes.
more.
Absolutely. That's lovely to hear. I think just Edyta, just want to change the tack ever so slightly. On our podcast, we invite each guest to set a question for the next guest. So I have a question for you. And hopefully this, when I heard the question, I thought, this will be really good. This is going to be really good for our listeners. So the question is there a right time in your life that you feel you should or could or would start a business, and why?
Start a business. Let me think about that, because so the other part to my professional journey is that I am a mentor at an incubator organization supporting startup businesses. And so we see how often founders come to us with incredible ideas and zero business acumen. And so they have an amazing product or they have an amazing service that they want to sell, but they are lacking the execution skills. And so if I were to give someone an advice, I would say, do it when you are financially secure, because, and definitely before you have children. And I feel that's why New Professionals was so successful, because I took a gap year from working in finance in Guernsey. I went traveling, I had savings, I had a guaranteed job to go back to after 12 months. And I developed New Professionals not having any pressure in terms of finances or paying mortgage or needing to go to work or looking after the children and having the responsibility for children. So if you can put yourself in a position where you either start a business while you are still in employment and you have that security of income to fall back on, you remove an enormous amount of pressure. But once you decide to kind of put all your eggs in one basket and you believe in the cause, you need to remember one of the things that I've learned, and I think is very relevant, and I think it's probably actually the top most important advice for any founders starting an organization, is time is an ingredient in your recipe. You can't slow cook something in 5 minutes, and always expect for your first sales to take at least twice as long as you think, because we always go into our projects with optimism and try to be realistic, but we are very excited about how much impact our organizations are going to have. And I speak about news etals right now, and why who would possibly not want to be part of it? Who would possibly not see the value in this? And why isn't everyone as excited about this as I am? But politics will always be politics, and there are some regulations and rules that you can't bypass very easily, and you have to follow the process. And unfortunately, you get caught up in that red tape sometimes. So it always takes longer for your business to become profitable and to give you that security of income that you need to make it a success. So it's that would be my best advice.
I think that's really great advice. Thank you. Really great advice. Is there a question you've got for our next guest, Edyta? I mean, I'm not going to tell you who it is because, that would be spoiling the surprise.
Okay. So I really love the way that we've been able to work remotely, especially since COVID. And before COVID, we at New Professionals, we have all been remote since 2013 when I set up the company. And before COVID, that was a little bit looked down on. But one question that I always get asked, and I would love to hear someone else answer, is, in this era of online and remote working, how do you make sure that you retain the culture and the engagement of your staff? Especially if you, for example, work with remote teams.
Oh,
that's brilliant.
We had the reaction. Brilliant question.
Yeah. Brilliant question. And a lot of that, I think, is to do with the drive that I hear, not just across healthcare, but particularly in healthcare, to bring people back 100% of the time, and to now feel a little aggrieved against people that say, well, actually, my work-life balance is much more functional in a hybrid way or even a remote way. So I think that's a brilliant question.
Yeah, really good. Oh, I was trying to think who's the next. It got me thinking. Oh, who's this for? I'll have a look at my diary.
No, it's a secret.
It's a secret. Got to keep our listeners want to come back and hear. You see.
Yes. We will be on the lookout for the next podcast episode.
Yeah, absolutely. Edyta, it's been absolutely fabulous to talk with you today, and just want to say a huge thank you for your time. And because I know Mauritius, the time difference, it's probably your bedtime, isn't it? I'd have thought.
It's coming up for 9 o'clock, but it's just perfect. Kids are in bed, nice and quiet.
Super.
Edyta, is there an email where people can get hold of you if they want to learn more around News Etwells or get involved?
It is. There is Edyta, EDYTA, at News Etwells, NOUZETWALS.org. And News Etwells, just because we didn't touch on it, News Etwells means our stars in Mauritian Creole, because they are already here and they are our stars, and we are here to appreciate them.
Yeah,
that's a great ending sentence.
Yeah, I'm very, very much looking forward to celebrating their achievements. Super.
Thank you.
Thank you very much again. You're very, very welcome. And just to say thank you to all our listeners. If you haven't done so already, please like and subscribe. And we look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.